so happy to have you. Now, the military is very near and dear to my heart because for most of my dad's adult life, he was in the American military, and I moved every year or two, so I have a heart for military families. But before we get into all of this, we sent our cameras to the streets with our 100 Huntley Street intern, William Birch, and he asked the question, what would you say to the troops serving overseas? Have a look.
Thank you for serving for me. I appreciate the risk that you're taking to support your Canadian citizens.
Keep their head down and come back in one piece.
Just all the best to them and good luck.
You guys are doing an excellent job.
I would say, I don't know, good luck and all the best to you. And hopefully you come back soon.
To come home.
We should be adore them for that what they're doing. That's not easy job because we went through the war before, like was in 1939 from Poland to Germany and so on. We were in Germany also. Also, that's a tough work there with the war. And I think for soldiers it's very, very tough work. I think the great people, they want to do that for the country.
David, it's good to hear just the general public appreciating and acknowledging the sacrifice that our Canadian men and women are making in the military. Now you're the commander of the, let me get this straight, the Military Christian Fellowship of Canada.
The Vice President.
Vice President.
Yep.
Now, what is it that this is all about?
Well, the Military Christian Fellowship of Canada is all about taking the good news of Jesus Christ to the military community in Canada and abroad. Mm-hmm. And we are a group of military people, ex-military, spouses, and civilian members of the government, and any interested people. We get together to support the military. We have prayer meetings across the country. We also have annual conferences, and basically the big effort that we have right now is developing a wall of prayer around our military.
And not just the military, right? Because, I mean, we saw in that Streeter package there that, you know, what would you say to our soldiers? Well, behind those, you know, every soldier is a family, right? And so what would we say to the families of these soldiers?
It's a real challenge because they're the silent supporters. And if you go to some of the bases where a lot of our soldiers and sailors and airmen are coming from, those people there are in a war zone. It's like Canada in World War II. And we have a hard time realizing when we live in cities like Toronto or Ottawa that situation actually exists. It's very important. It needs our support, our spiritual support and our physical support.
You know, in fact, you have a conference coming up August 17 to 22. What a title. North American Regional Association of Military Christian Fellowships Helping Families Conference. You're taking this very seriously.
We are, and it's an interesting conference. It's the second regional conference we've had, but it's the first one where we've actually reached out to the churches of North America.
And this is the information on that conference there, David.
Yeah.
The dates, I'll just read it for you, August 17th to the 21st. It's in Estes Park, Colorado, and the website for more information, mcf-canada.ca.
That's right.
We'd like to see churches send representatives to this.
We'd like to see churches send representatives. We'd like to see military people attend, and if there's churches that would like to either send representatives or help the military, that would be great.
You know, it does my heart so good to see this support, this grassroots support system for military families in particular. You know, my dad, when I was a little girl, spent 2 years in Vietnam, 2 separate tours of duty over there. And, you know, if we would have had then what you are making available now, I think it would have made so much difference in our family's life. I know you've brought some pictures with you as well as to a little bit of what the military is all about, so we want to jump into those.
Yeah, this is from Combat Camera. This is an example of some of the things that our military members are doing. This is a field hospital. And another example of a field hospital. Our military people treat both military members and the local population.
All right.
Here's a military members evacuating an injured person.
Just on the ground.
Yeah, here is an opportunity for our military people to train local forces.
Is this in Afghanistan?
It is in Afghanistan. This is a combat patrol.
David, I'm hearing that in the last 7 years you've had...
this is unfortunately the final journey of a Canadian Forces member back to Canada. And,
the Highway of Heroes, it just is, it's heart-wrenching.
And you know, David, I didn't realize the magnitude of this. Oh,
this is driving down the Highway of Heroes. You know, it really is supportive to see.
This support is so important. It's really heart-wrenching.
What is the Highway of Heroes, quickly?
The Highway of Heroes is the journey, and here's an example of someone who's in that journey and the emotional impact of that on him. It's the journey from Trenton, where the bodies come back, to where they have to go, and it's down 401, I guess.
Now, David, I didn't realize how many, because as I was doing a bit of research, you know, there's 62,000 people in is it the Armed Forces or Military Canada?
Canadians.
That's right, the Canadian Armed Forces.
And as Denise had mentioned, so you have 62,000, which all represent families across Canada. And you realize the need of what your work is involved in. Because if you think about the families, so that's wife, children,
Or husband.
husbands,
One of-
extended family, grandparents, and all those people that need the support when you know somebody serves overseas or whatnot.
And I guess the challenge is it's easy when you're in a place like Petawawa or Valcartier or Edmonton, where large groups of people go, but we also have people coming from reserve units across the country and from smaller communities where they might not be such a large and vocal minority.
It's thrilling to read. I was starting to say, the last 7 years you are saying the requests for Bibles by servicemen in Afghanistan who are reading their Bible daily. What a thrill.
I know when my dad was in the Vietnam War, it was known in his battalion that he was a Christian, and people would come to him, men would come to him the night before an activity they would do the next day and want to pray with him, and he was able to lead many men to Christ right there on the front lines, because you really realize your need for God, don't you, when you're in these kind of situations?
I think it brings your focus down to what's important.
Yes.
What's important in life.
I had the great pleasure of being in Afghanistan and visiting the ISAF base in Kabul and meeting our Canadian troops. And I had the chance to, you know, take some greetings that they wanted to send back home. And, you know, there were mothers there were fathers there. But I think one of the issues that also needs a lot of support is that when they come home that they have the support, because a lot of these people are going through post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's not just a matter of their physical absence, but it's when they come home, what's next.
Denise, it's before, during, and after. Each phase has its own unique part, and the after part is definitely a challenge.
And they need God before, during, and after.
And our prayers, we can be part of the prayer wall, right?
Yes, that's right.
The
wall of prayer.
And support your work, which is an amazing.
And if you want more information on all that Commander David Peer is up to these days, just log into our website at crossroads.ca, and there will be a link there to information about him. Well, thank you for being with us. The time has flown. We are so happy that we can have you on the couch. You're a brave man.
Yes.
You've been in the military. You've been on the front lines, and so this is kind of front line stuff too.
Tour of duty.